So we've got an expert on board here. So please join me in welcoming up Adnan Fakhro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for your kind introduction. My name is Adnan Mohammed. My area of responsibility is electricity network distribution and the water network distribution as well as the customer, as well as the conservation of electricity water and the damage prevention units also of the whole entire networks, power and water, transmission and distribution. And the final one is the customer service, which is the subject of my talk today. As you know, Bahrain is a very small island in the Persian Gulf. We are sandwiched between the eastern coast of Saudi and the western coast of Qatar. And it's a small island, it's about 700 square meters, or comparable to Singapore. And we are just above 1 million in population. The BD, Bahrain BD is 2.6 tons. This is just gives you an idea of the number of accounts within the EWA. We have domestic consists of 73% and the commercial is about 26%. It's a very small portion for industry and agriculture. However, in terms of billing, we have the domestic constitute 48% and the commercial 37%, whereas industrial gives 15%. It's a larger amount compared to its small sector. Agriculture is very small because I think it's mainly just pumping water, so they don't consume much. And agriculture is not very heavy in Bahrain, unfortunately. We have lost that over the years. This is the billing. Just shows you the billing over the years, over the past 10 years. In 2011, our billing is about 145 million dinars. It's almost equivalent to 377 million dollars. The other column shows you the collection, and this is just a comparison between the collection and the billing. If you look at it this way, you might think, oh, we are doing very well, but this can give you a false impression. For instance, in 2011, the collection is almost 90% of the efficiency of collection. And if we go, for instance, the year before it is 91%. In 2009 was so good, it was almost 98%. And so on. So the average over the past 5 years gives you close to 90%. But are we doing very well? No, we are not. We feel we have a problem. Because if you look at the red graph here, this is for the outstanding amount. This outstanding amount was controlled 2002, but then it started to creep up a little bit and reached in 2005, it reached 47 million. Then it came down because the payment in 2006, you can see it is more than the billing, which means that some collection from the outstanding is being introduced into our system. So it brought it down. Otherwise, we can see otherwise would have been constantly going up since 2005, reaching a peak of 147 in 2011. This is almost equivalent, the outstanding amount here is equivalent to almost 1 year payment. So I don't know how this compares with others, but we do have a problem here. Why do we have this outstanding amount? One of the reasons, in 2004, the government was kind enough say, okay, there's been some people are not paying, and so let's help them out. And say, okay, how much the amount of people who are unable to pay and they have outstanding payment. That was about 5 million dinars, which is about 11 or 12 million dollars. So the government hastily done that, but that caused, instead of being appreciated, it caused more problem to us, because the good payers became late payers, waiting for another visitor. And the late payers said, oh, why should we pay now? So let's wait, maybe there's another visitor in the system. So that was, unfortunately, and we are suffering up to 2012. People still complain about that. So, I mean, you were not fair to us in 2005, so they have some resentments. Many people, of course, benefited from this because those who have outstanding have been paid for, but it gave negative results. Also, in 2007 we moved from ministry to authority, and before we had a FMIS system connected between us and Ministry of Finance, so the payment from the other ministries was being paid to us directly. But since we became entity by ourselves, this FMIS system has to be stopped. So it's up to the ministries to pay, and so they are not giving us priority. And also in 2007 we implemented a new customer service system, so I'll explain to you about it. That also caused some problems because in the beginning it had some teething problems, as like any other system. Some had problems with the bulk customers' meters. It was causing problems. It was not reading those. It was easy with the individual meters, but with the bulk customers, which constitute the major bulk of our payment, had problems with it. So they were not producing these bulk bills. Some customers also, because of the delay in payment, when a lot of backlog was there, so that increased the outstanding amount. Finally, initially the CSS had a lot of it has a criteria for exceptions. So if the bill is not right, we'll pick the exception, so it will not issue it. And we found that the criteria was very stringent, so we had to modify it. So at the beginning we had thousands of bills was just trapped in the exceptions. And with time we managed to solve the problem. Of course, we have collection channels. We have over the counter. People go to the consumers' offices. We have in each area we have a main customer service offices for payment over the counter. Next, we have the post offices. We are paying post offices annually to provide us with the service, so people can go to the post office and pay. And the post office, of course, around Bahrain. We have the local banks also. You can pay over the counter in local banks. Unfortunately, but this is most of the banks will charge people, so the limited income people will not. Why should they pay a dinar if their bills are like 10 dinars, for instance? It's 30%, and sometimes in the winter the bills goes down much lower, so that can be a big amount for them. But we managed with the main bank we put our collection goes to. We convinced them that they should provide us one free of charge. We have EWA hotline over the phone. We have, of course, you can send it by mail if you wish. And we have the website. And we have, of course, e-government now. That's very active in the area of Bahrain particular. And, of course, we are encouraging now the direct debit. But this is just introduced recently. If you go to Europe, for instance, the direct debit is a major way of paying, and it goes by law as well. Efforts to increase the collection efficiency. as I mentioned, e-government, 2006 started to be active, and they are also an incentive for people to pay online, and they give them prizes, and they give them. They sometimes there are even competition. They can earn back your payment for a full year if you are so good and you enter a competition. We have, as I said, direct debit bank installments to help the people because of the outstanding is increasing, and so it became a problem to the people. So we have increased it even up to 2 years to give them installment over 2 years. So they enter, we make an agreement with the people, and they have to stick to the agreement. Especially those who are not able to pay the bills because of their relaxation in the past. For non-domestic, for commercial, we used not to give any concessions, but because of the situation, because of the recessions, what have you, we can, case by case, we can give to up to 1 year. But this is very carefully studied. As we mentioned in the presentation today about mobile telephone bills and payment, this is a new service provided by e-government, and we just had e-government major conference exhibition in Bahrain, and they would introduce this new even over your mobile. You can pay, you can check your past bills over the year, and you can also communicate with us. Efforts to increase collection, because we need to increase collections. We have people, the meter readers goes manually to the reader because we don't have smart meters yet. So they go take the readings in the houses. And sometimes they report back that the premises is closed, or nobody's in the house, what have you. So it's fine, we assume this is correct, but just to make sure, we put sometimes some accountants to make sure they go and check on the supervisor, and that this is really actually correct. So this not all the time, but they just take some spot checks from time to time, just to compare that what they are reporting is accurate. Also, right now we are thinking of working on incentives for timely payers, to give them incentives, so to encourage them, to keep them, and to encourage more people to be on more timely payers. We are currently working on those, on this process and legislation. And we also might introduce that those people who don't pay shouldn't enjoy. If he's not paying, he's a bad customer. We shouldn't make it for him easy to come and ask for another service, new connection, or additional load. Some of these people are able, but they try to get away out of it. So we said, well, we should be tough with them. To improve services to customers and initiate legal actions. This is also, we need to improve the customers. We need to win the customers to make them come to us, so that they enjoy. Once they have good service, people will be more loyal to you. So we have to work on this more. And we have recently we had some lawyers approaching us saying, we can help you into making people pay. So we are actually engaging with the fair right now to see if we could have a pilot with them. Maybe we'll go for over 1,000 accounts and see whether that's going to produce a result. I think the sense of it is that, when people don't want to go to, don't associate themselves with the courts or to the, or call to come to the court, say they will avoid that one, especially our customs area. People don't like that. So probably that might defer them and make them pay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Of course, we have campaigns to disconnect non-payers, sometimes from overhead lines and underground cables. Normally, if the people don't pay, we go and remove the fuses from the premises. But some people they don't allow the meter reader to get inside the house. And we don't have smart meters still, because the smart meters, that was one way out to overcome this problem. And sometimes we threaten people that, okay, if you are too bad, we cut them off. Actually, we cut them off from cable supplying to their premises. And we go for a small percentage, if say 100, we have 100 names, you might go for 2 or 3%. Sometimes you just, you defer people by sending the crew, and when they start digging, before they start digging, you will open the house, say, I would rather enter, because if you cut them, he will pay harsh, because you have to pay for the jointing as well. So it's like it will cost them way above the normal. And disconnection is just maybe 5 dinars, whereas the cable he might have to pay 300 dinars. That's a big amount. One way of improving the services we're providing our people is we introduced last year a one-stop shop office. You see, people now, if they want to apply for new connections or for additional load, what have you, they go to the customer service, they put the application there, they fill it, and then the customer service will send it to the distribution people. Planning will study it and make a design, and then send it back to the customer services for a cost. It's all this. Instead of going to different, although it's done now electronically, but we said let's put all these people in the under one roof, so the customer, in case he wants to deal with the distribution people, there is a representative down there, also one person from the water distribution, from the damage prevention units, from issuing the building permits. So it's all under one roof, rather than if necessarily he goes from one place to another place to check, to follow up his case. The collection methods, as you can see, cash and checks represent the highest, 60.61%. Then we have the credit debit cards. Then we have the banks, 18%. Post office is 8%. And the e-governments is picking up now 7%. And bank direct debits, just new items, just started right now. This is just to show you the accounts disconnected, the disconnection statistics. For instance, 2009, we have 77,000 overdue accounts. Accounts for disconnection for non-payments is 5,000 something, but the actual, it's the percentage is about 7% for non-payment. In 2010, the accounts which was sent for disconnection as 11%, and 2011 is 10%. We send people, as I said, to disconnect them. And if we are not allowed, we try to do it from outside. But to be honest with you, we try now with the new, we try to win the customers rather than to punish the customers. We don't like to feel that, we don't like to have resentment. We like to win them, and it should be win-win for both, for all parties. The challenges facing collection, as I said, meter inside premises, because unfortunately most of the meters are inside the houses, so you have to take permission to knock the door to go inside. Unlike the water meters are all on the walls, so you don't have to go inside the premises, so you can read them. We have pressure from legislative authorities, all the MPs, the parliament members, members of parliament, always trying to be on the side of the people. These are poor people, don't disconnect them. This is essential service, power and water. It's always take more of, they always take sides of the people. So they put a lot of obstacles. I mean, I remember this year, after the summer, when it was winter, we were very harsh to go and disconnect. It was a big issue in the parliament. I had to get the minister in charge to question him. Why do you do this? Why now? They are always making big issues. So after that, we say we try to meet them in between. So we put a lot of steps we take before we disconnect. So now is the disconnection is the last resort. But I don't believe you can do collection if people don't feel that they will be disconnected at the end of the day. Because that goes very well with the telephone bills and the banks and credit cards. Delays in meters updates, sometimes they put the people install new meters, but they don't give back the information, so that delays then and there are delays and registering the meter on the system. Estimation is a bad thing because estimation people can go very low, and then suddenly when you get the real bills, they get a big amount, and then cause a dispute or delays, and they say we can't pay, then it's your fault, give us installments. So now we try to reduce the estimation. The bill adjustments, by the way, for water, we try to help. I mean, the non-revenue water is a big issue. Bahrain try to reduce that. But the conservation people, the responsibility is up to the meter. I mean, we are responsible for the leakage up to the meter of the house. From the meter of the house to inside is the responsibility of the customer. However, the conservation people, they monitor the consumptions. They monitor they have a link with the customer with the software of the billing. And when they say the billing is high, shooting up very high, they approach the customer telling them that your consumption is very high. Could be you might have a leakage, or you might be consuming more. And if it is internal leakage, we try to help him to identify that leakage if possible, and we pardon him if it's been gone for a long time, especially if we are estimating his bill. So we feel we are liable for his problem. So we try to pardon him for probably something like 1 month. This is going for a long time. This is just the CSS components of our customer services system, which we introduced in 2007. This is the database, and these are the components of the CSS: meter management, service connection, the billing, of course, online. Before that, we didn't have, for instance, call. We didn't have call center, by the way. Before the system, we had a fragmented call center. We have one for the water, we have one for the distribution. The customer service didn't have a call center just during the day. But only we managed to have this call centers when we had the system, 2007. So it was a big plus for us. So this call center now handles all electricity and water, street lighting, customer services, billing issues, whatever. And of course, with this one, we came to introduce internet access. Before that, we didn't have internet access. And queries, so people can send faxes, can send emails, what have you. And with this, because of this system also, we managed to, we managed to link it with the GIS. We have a very advanced GIS system. the FMI system before, as I said, is with the Ministry of Finance. The SAP financial, or we have a SAP system for all of our financial system, for our finance and for spares and material, and of course the big ideas. This is just a quick overview of the CS achievement. Before it used to take a long time, 5 weeks, but now it's up to 7 days. You can take the bills. You can read the bills in much quicker times. Of course, online paperless system. I agree with the presentation area. I remember many years ago when they put us terminals to communicate in the early 90s, I think, or late 80s. Said now we use it will be paperless because we can email each other, we can communicate. But believe me, it didn't do a dent to the paperwork. Still, your office is full of paperwork. Here, we are hoping that eventually the cost of because it costs us money to send the bills over by the post office. Each bill costs us maybe like say $100. We are hoping that when people switch to e-billing, that will be reduced. So it's remains to be seen, but we are hopeful. Of course, e-service launched now. We are quite flexible with the government. Whenever they introduce new e-services, we can manage it. Contact centers, as I mentioned, disconnection and reconnection, it's easier now. And of course, all sorts of reporting, we get them. And the KPIs, with call center now is now all the data in the call center, so I can easily produce all sorts of reporting to see how good I am doing, distribution, water, and new connections, and my response to the maintenance. It's quite really a very powerful tool. This is just from just to show the benefits of the call center. Benefits of the system, computer system. And this is just the inbounds of the CSS. As I said, this is of course was a class when we started 2007. Over the previous one, so we were showing the improvement of course these days with SMS. This was, as I said, when we achieved it in 2007, it was quite a good achievement when you send people for overdue bills. Or this is quite useful for outages when people have power, they have a complaint, because complaint, they give a number, so send the number to him by SMS. When they finish repairing it, they send it to him also that your job is done. I think this is quite powerful. Also for payment, if he has to remind him about his payment. If he has to pay capital contribution, he asks for a connection. They make estimation, say you have to pay 500 now, so they remind him by the telephone. Now we are in 2012. We feel that there is a lot of we reach a limitation on this system, and our people are at the moment our IT are engaged with SAP over 1.5 years now to use SAP system, probably new CRM and new intelligent business applications, and perhaps introduce new billing, and to have a system which can cope for the future advancement and smart grid, smart metering, and probably in the future, if we think of renewables, feed-in tariffs, what have you, it can handle all this new technology. And also we have we had some limitation with this one in terms of we come up with new applications like electronics, way leaves. We have limitations, so we think it's time now to switch to new system. With this, I just thank you very much for your kind